By the way, you're welcome here as opposed to there.
Thanks. Thanks. Like the change.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, bro. Let's dive right into it.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. How surprised were you that the Eagles let you go?
Very surprised. I had a very productive game coming back against the Jets, and then we go up to Minnesota and we get smashed. And then we go to Dallas and we get smashed. And then it felt kind of scapegoatish.
A whole bunch against, it was, yeah, scapegoatish. But you played 51 snaps, I think, against Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have my best performance. You know, I had some rough moments, but who doesn't have rough moments in this league?
Yeah.
But it felt really, really scapegoatish. The problem in Philadelphia is much, much deeper than me.
What, you want to elaborate what some of the problems are? Because we hear a lot of talking coming in and out of that locker room. What's some of the problems that's going on?
I think they're having a tough time dealing with success. Whenever you got to say, oh, we're going to get it together. Oh, no one believes in us. Oh, it's about us. You already doomed.
So scapegoatish, as in Zach Brown was a week ago. And
Zach Brown goes out and says, you know, we need to put it in the quarterback's hands. He gets released. The head coach goes out and says, oh, we're going to go down to Dallas and we're going to win and go be in first place.
Should
he get released?
No, he did not, but maybe so. And then you and Akeem Spence went.
I mean, how it was explained to me from Howie, and I don't believe anything that Howie says. Howie is one of the people that if he told me it was raining outside, I'd probably, you know, get some shorts just in case.
That's tough. That's strong.
Yeah, I mean, he put it to me as he wanted to play some younger players, and they're a mess on defense, and they needed to get some more defensive linemen. So we'll see how that works for them this weekend up in Buffalo.
How much dissension did you feel inside the locker room? Lane Johnson said guys are late for meetings. Was there turmoil in the locker room that you could see and feel?
Let's just say where there's smoke, there's fire. You've been in a lot of locker rooms. If me and you are having a conversation in the locker room and it gets leaked to him, so he's going to get the edited version. What was the version that me and you were actually talking about?
Right.
So what about the report that Alshon was the one who took an anonymous shot at the quarterback?
I love Alshon, and I'm going to take it for what he said. It wasn't him, but it came from somewhere. Once again, where there's smoke, there's fire. That locker room is different. I would tell guys when I came there, like, I still feel like they're living on that Super Bowl high. Like, it's over. You living in the past, but some of those guys came in the league and the first thing they experienced was 13-3 in the Super Bowl, and they think that's what it's all about. How many years you play?
14.
How many Super Bowls?
3.
How hard was it to get there? How many years did it?
Yeah, 3 Super Bowls. So the other 11 years was basically not successful. I don't look at it.
You were one of the lucky ones.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And for me, 12 years, no Super Bowls, no Super Bowl appearances. And some of those guys, they haven't even faced the harsh reality of a losing season. But at this rate, that what's going on there, it's the problem is not just fixable by saying we're all going to stick together. You say we're all going to stick together, we're all in this together, but then you get Lane saying people's late to meetings. There's some accountability issues going on there, and it starts from the top.
So you notice, but the problem that I have with Lane, and he talks a lot, and that's his right.
He often backs it up.
He backs it up. Yeah, he's a good player.
Yep.
But if this is something that you could have said privately,
I was just talking about that to somebody. Like, why not go to that guy and tell him on the plane?
Right.
But for me, that was like a masking thing. I think Lane is a hell of a player, and we all can agree with that.
Right.
He didn't have a hell of a game on Sunday.
Right.
So instead of, you know, going out and attacking somebody being late, you know, the first thing that you could have did is just looked in the mirror and maybe went to that guy and pulled him to the side and said, hey, we can't be late. We got to get this together. We got to set examples. We're the vets on this team, because they're not talking about a rookie being late. They're not talking about just some guy that's the 52nd, 53rd man on the roster, some guy that doesn't play and active being late. That comment is about somebody of some significance. So instead of hiding behind
You know who?
I don't know who it is, you know, and I wasn't there long enough to even dive into that. That comment was made. I was released the next day. But
the thing is that I'm looking at, Skip, it's hard for me to believe that the guy was just late before the Dallas game. So what happened when you won these last couple of games in a row? So everybody was up on time, showed up on time, to meetings on time, on practice on time, but it's just the week before Dallas, guys started coming late to meetings, coming late to practice.
Not at all, Shannon. You already know.
Exactly.
When you lose, you know, the fingers is you. And then when you have success, it's like, oh, it's fine, you know, let it slip through the cracks. But it's some issues going on there.
As you know, all that success you mentioned was achieved with Nick Foles at quarterback.
Absolutely.
He was almost worshipped. They built a shrine in the locker room. This is pre-you. Who was it? Chris Long built a shrine to Nick Foles in the locker room in 2 straight playoffs. One he cashed in with the Super Bowl MVP, and last year won the big game at Chicago. And then Alshon missed a pass right in his hands, or they might have pulled off a win at New Orleans.
Correct.
So now you have the young quarterback back in. How much pressure is on him, and how is he handling that?
There's a ton of pressure on him, but let's just start here. Nick Foles is not walking through that door.
No.
At all.
Right.
Not at all. And I think, are there some people in that locker room that still would probably want Nick? Yeah. But that's not a knock against Carson.
Okay.
It's just everything that Nick has achieved. But he's not walking through that locker room. And clearly the organization has shown everybody, the fan base, the players, the coaches, they're all in on Carson. It's his team. So somewhere in the happy medium, they're going to have to figure out how to
get over what he done.
Yet there's a big story in PhillyVoice.com questioning Carson's leadership. This is in the offseason before you got there. How did you sense his growth as a leader? How did it sort of resonate through the locker room or not resonate?
I love Carson, man. I thought that he was a great guy. I thought he was stand-up. I thought he was... I'm going to compare him to your quarterback.
Okay.
I spent enough time with both of them. Dak, natural born. Yeah. First one in the building. Last one out. Doing extra things.
That might be his greatest strength.
Doing extra things. Carson, if you go back to earlier in the season, they dropped a few passes, and now they want to stay after practice and catch some extra passes. That's adversity, right? How do you handle success? When you handle success, when you rip off a few games, does everybody just get in at 7:15 and leave at 6:14? And I think they're dealing with that right now. That success is really, really hurting them right now.
How much dissension did you feel in the defensive huddle as things unraveled at Minnesota and then at Dallas? Was there any talking? Was there any clashing?
I think on defense, I think they have stuck together pretty good. I think there's some selfish people on that defense, though.
Do you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that Rasul Douglas, who's a good friend of mine, I think he took some unwanted heat for some blown coverages on some other people's selfish play. And we don't even have to say names.
Yeah, we do. I know you're talking about.
We don't have to say names at all. They know who they are.
Well, you're not talking
He played in
about...
the middle of let's just say he's not a corner. I believe it at that. He's not a corner.
Shannon, you know football.
I do know football.
And Skip, you've watched a lot.
Oh, I know a lot of football.
So I think
it might have been the guy that got ran over Skip. I don't know, but it might have been him.
Guy named Jenkins, maybe?
Oh, no.
I don't know. Malcolm Jenkins? Maybe that's who we're talking about.
Maybe we talk about Roscoe Jenkins.
Maybe Roscoe.
Roscoe Jenkins.
It could. But, I mean, I think that when you wear the C on your jersey, it's your job to bring guys along. It's your job to sometimes you need to take the hard down. You need to take the hard job, and you need to, like, bring the thing together. I don't know if that's the case. You know,
strong.
You look at everything that happened. You hold out for a contract. You come in. You're not really making any plays like splash plays. Then you go down to Minnesota and, you know, you somehow supposed to be in the half of the field and you end up playing a crosser. That's not a rookie we talk about here. It's a 2-time Super Bowl champ.
That is true. How much of a statement did you feel like Ezekiel Elliott made on that early play where he did run over said Malcolm Jenkins?
Man, Zeke came out on a mission. When you go into somebody's house, I've been on the other side of that locker room, and when you go into somebody's house and you tell them what they're gonna do, I can't come to your house and tell you I'm gonna move your furniture and put my TV in my bed right here. And I think we wasn't gonna talk ourselves to a victory. We tried it.
How did it play in the locker room when Doug Peterson seemed to guarantee and then seemed to walk it back?
That whole thing was strange, man. Just being a part of that Dallas Cowboy organization for so long and then going and being a part of 2 other organizations, I never really felt like at home. If I could take back one thing or one regret that I have in my whole entire sports career, it would have been to stay with that Dallas Cowboy organization through thick and thin. And I had a long, long conversation with Sean Lee before the game. And
Did you?
You know,
On the field?
no, on the phone.
On the
Me
phone?
and Sean are great
Really?
friends. We had a long conversation that wasn't even about like football. It just was about like his loyalty to Dallas and, you know, and how I was happy for him for grinding through it and being healthy and continuing to like fight despite what everyone said about him. And, you know, he was just telling me like he loves it. He loves being in Dallas. He's the work that he's put in with those guys. He loves coming to work every day. And I can't say my last 2 years of football has been like that.
And by the way, Sean Lee played really well the other day.
Man, he's a baller.
He's a baller. I mean, given where he is in his career, he played well in that game.
He's a baller. I mean, he can't. Injuries are part of the game.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you know, and for him, it's hard. When you've been a staple, you've had that captaincy, you've been a Pro Bowl player on that team, and then they bring in the two young guys. You got Jalen Smith, you got Vander Esch, and all of a sudden it's like, bro, we need you to take a back seat. He says, okay. They put him on special teams a little bit, and it's like now he's back in the starting lineup as a weak side linebacker. He's doing what Sean Lee does.
I don't care if he got a C on his jersey.